Problems in the Roman Empire following the Pax Romana. This video is on the internal problems facing the Roman Empire. Remember, internal means within the borders. So let's take a look at some of Rome's internal problems. The first one, moral decline. Number 2 was government corruption. Both moral decline and government corruption led to the people of Rome not trusting the government like we saw during the Roman Republic, during the early emperors, and during the Pax Romana. We see a return of civil war to the Roman Empire, and this constant fighting between sides within the empire led to a constant change in who was the emperor. And we see a stretch of 50 years where you have 22 different emperors. And so this constant changing led to inconsistency in law, in safety and protection, in trade, and other factors related to government supervision and powers. Number 4, a weakened army. So as the Roman Empire grew and needed more soldiers to protect its borders, it began to hire foreign mercenaries, foreign soldiers. And the problem with this is these foreign mercenaries were not as loyal to the empire as Roman citizens were. Number 5, government overspending led to increased taxes. So we learned about some of you had emperors that spent on projects, architectural projects, the Colosseum, for example, aqueducts, temples. This government overspending led to increased taxes, and the wealthy in Rome did not pay their share of the taxes. Number 6, inflation. So as the Roman government produced more and more currency that was backed by cheaper, less precious metals, not silver, for example, we see a rise in prices of goods and services. That's inflation. For example, between the years 218 and 293 CE, we see the price of grain multiply by 16. So, for example, if grain was $1 in the 100 years, it raised to $16 as an example. That's a great increase in the price of goods. And we see a lack of further expansion, because when Rome expanded, they not only captured enslaved people to serve in the army and to serve in other capacities around the empire, but they also looted, took from those lands, and brought the wealth and the riches back to Rome. And so the lack of further expansion cut off an additional supply of resources. So these are 7 problems, internal problems, that the Roman Empire faced following the Pax Romana. Now, we had some emperors try to come up with solutions. And so the first emperor was Diocletian. And Emperor Diocletian's idea was to divide the Roman Empire into two parts so that it could more easily be governed. And so we had the Western Roman Empire, which had the capital of Rome. It still remained Rome. But then you had the Eastern Roman Empire, which had the capital Byzantium. Now, Diocletian kept control of both parts. So even though they had separate governments, Diocletian was in charge of the entire empire still. So that was his solution. Let's divide the empire so it's easier to govern and to protect and to kind of maintain. And so Emperor Constantine comes next. And we know Constantine already because he passed the Edict of Milan, which allowed for religious freedom in the empire, that stopped the persecution of Christians. But Constantine also had his own solutions to these internal problems. The first thing he did was he moved the capital of the Roman Empire from Rome to Byzantium. So if you look at the map, it's going to move over to Byzantium. Why did he do this? Because it was considered closer to the center of the empire. Its geographic location, since it had water on three sides, it was easier to protect from invaders. And it had an excellent harbor for trade. So ships could easily come in and out, which made the city quite wealthy. And so here's a picture of Byzantium. As you can see, water on three sides, land on one. So it was easier to, they put up walls. It was easier to protect. Constantine also renamed the capital city Constantinople. Constantinople. And let's repeat that point. And then our third emperor is Theodosius. And his solution, he remained, he kept the two Western Roman Empire, Eastern Roman Empire. He kept that. He kept the capital in Byzantium. And when he died, he was the last emperor to rule the entire Roman Empire, both parts. After his death, the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire became their own separate, I guess, sections, governmental territory. So they were controlled by their own emperor and their own structure. And so we'll see in the next video how the Western Roman Empire fell, while the Eastern Roman Empire continued on for years to come.